There's a strange, quiet moment that comes after the epiphany. You've had the late-night realization, you finally looked in the mirror and said, "Okay, I'm a cracked pot, and that's okay." There's a breath of relief. And then, the silence. The deafening silence of a Tuesday morning when you're left with one terrifying question. Now what? Because the world doesn't stop for your clarity. The bills don't vanish, and that bone-deep exhaustion doesn't just evaporate. You've accepted you're not broken. You're just becoming. But becoming feels a lot like treading water in the middle of a cold, dark ocean. The acceptance is the life raft, but it doesn't tell you which way to swim. I lived in that silence for a long time. I tried to fill it with noise. I downloaded productivity apps that judged me. I made vision boards that felt like a joke. The green smoothies tasted like defeat. I tried to glue my cracks with a paste made of toxic positivity and 5-year plans. But honestly, it was making it worse. I had never felt more like a fraud. I was on the verge of giving up completely on this whole becoming thing. And then the strangest thing happened. A chipped coffee mug in my kitchen sink showed me the one secret I'd been missing all along. There's this ancient Japanese art form called Kintsugi. When a piece of pottery breaks, they don't hide the cracks, they illuminate them. They mend the pieces with lacquer mixed with powdered gold, making the object more beautiful and valuable because it was broken. The scars become its history, its strength, its story. And staring at that mug, I realized my question wasn't, now what? The real question was, how do I find the gold for my own cracks? I want to share with you the 5 rituals of Kintsugi for the soul that changed everything for me. And the first one is the hardest, but the most important. I call it the funeral for the dream you. I sat down and wrote a letter to the version of myself I thought I was supposed to be. The one with the perfect career, the perfect body, the one who never felt anxious. I thanked him for the motivation he gave me, and then I grieved him. I let myself feel the real, gut-wrenching sadness of letting that ideal go. I buried the letter in my backyard. It was a symbolic act, but in that moment, I finally made space for the person who was actually living my life. And that brings me to the second piece of gold, redefining rest. I realized I wasn't just tired, I was depleted. There's a difference. So I stopped trying to rest by collapsing on the couch and doom scrolling. That just drains you more. Instead, I started scheduling recharging time. 20 minutes of just sitting by a window, listening to an entire album from my youth with my eyes closed. These weren't productive activities. They were acts of replenishment. They were the gentle golden lacquer filling the fractures in my soul. But what about the loneliness? That deafening silence from old friends? I understood that everyone else was just as depleted, waiting for grand reunions that would never happen. So I started practicing micro-connections. Instead of a meme, I'd send a 1-minute voice note. "Hey, just saw this and thought of you. Hope you're okay." It was less pressure, more authentic. These tiny gestures didn't fix everything overnight, but they kept the soil of my friendships from turning to dust. The 4th ritual was about finding my joy compass. I asked myself, what's one thing that brought me pure, uncomplicated joy when I was 15? For me, it was drawing stupid comics in a notebook. So I bought a cheap sketchbook and started doodling. It felt pointless at first, but that simple act was a direct line back to my core self before the world told me what I should be doing. It reminded me what it felt like to do something for no other reason than because it felt good. And the final piece of gold, the one I hold on to the tightest, I started a journal, but not for my wins. I started a journal of my cracks. One entry literally says, Couldn't get out of bed until noon. Felt shame. But I drank a glass of water. That's something. And you know what? Reading that now, I don't feel pity. I feel a strange sense of pride. Because that day, a glass of water was a victory. It's a testament to my own survival. Being a cracked pot doesn't mean you leak value. It means you have more places for the light to get in. Every scar, every mistake, every heartbreak, that's the gold. A perfect vase can hold water, but a Kintsugi vase holds a story. It holds the history of its own survival and becomes a beacon for others. So if you're standing in that silence right now, asking, now what? Stop looking for a map back to being unbroken. That person is gone. Instead, look for the gold. Look for it in the small acts of kindness you show yourself, in the courage it takes to get through the day, in the beauty of your own resilience. Your life isn't a problem to be solved. It's a masterpiece in progress. And you, with all your beautiful golden cracks, are the artist holding the brush.